This is great question. Why composting is becoming so popular? On social media, we see everyday post about composting, soil microbes, how we can make compost from food scraps. Other day, when I was talking to my other friend, she was, I asked her, why you started composting? And she said, Vartika, I saw it on Facebook. People were talking about we can easily make compost from food scraps, and that's how we started. So earlier when this was seen, the composting was seen just like the big farmer thing, when because people are into agriculture, they own this big land, they have to do agriculture, so that's why they have to deal with this gross messy material composting. But these days everybody is trying to compost. Even in the urban areas, people are trying to compost in their backyards in different kind of bins, static bin or tumblers, etc. uh, on my one of my previous video, I got such a beautiful comment. This lady said, I am composting in my tiny apartment on 37th floor in a plastic tote. That was beautiful. So that made me think, why people are really composting these days. So this comes down to a 3 point framework: cheap, easy, and high quality. Composting is extremely cheap, almost free, and easy process. And the product that we get out of composting, the final product, the compost, is the highest quality organic fertilizer that you cannot compare with any of the store bought fertilizer. Let's take them one by one. So, composting is cheap. In today's world, when everything is getting so expensive, you go to stores to buy the organic fruits, vegetables, these are so expensive. And forget the organic, even the regular fruits, vegetables are getting expensive too these days. And you want to buy soil, compost, organic fertilizer, everything is expensive. But composting flips this dynamic completely. With composting, instead of throwing your money away to buy these expensive things, you are using something you have already paid for. You own this. So your vegetable peels, fruit peels, eggshells, coffee ground, you have already paid for these things and you own this. And with composting, you are converting this into something more valuable, right? So think about it. How much organic waste we get in one day, in one week. So let's take an example. In the morning, you have a breakfast with an omelette of 2 eggs. So you got eggshells of 2 eggs. You have your coffee. You get the coffee ground, and then later on in a snack you get a banana. So you got that one banana peel, and in the evening you cook something in the dinner. You know, for example, chili with mashed potato. You got those potato peels, or any other cuisine you are cooking. You're cooking rajma chawal or Mexican or whatever. So your onions and carrot tops, pepper tops, and yeah, anything. So many different things you get as the scraps, as vegetable scraps. This is just one person eating one day. Think about it, in 7 days, 1 month, how much you get this material that you can easily convert into compost. And you also mix brown leaves into your compost. That is nature's gift to us, that we can easily use. And the setup, the bins, bins are very cheap to buy. Some people want to buy new, just they want to keep the new, so they go to Costco, Amazon, etc. That's fine. But lot of people can make these bins from the old plastic, old garbage bins, right? Just make some holes and use it as a composter. Or lot of people make it from the wood scraps as well. Those wood pellets, scrap wood pellets are great to make composters. So this comes down that this is really, everything is so cheap in the composting process. It's almost free. I have this example from one of my friends. She started gardening. She started regenerating the soil in her garden, and then when she had to buy that soil and compost and everything to build it, she found out it to be very expensive. And then she chose to compost from her own food scraps. It will take some time because it's a big garden, but still the process is completely free. So this process has to be sustainable as well, and maybe that's why this is one of the reason, because it is cheap, the composting is becoming popular than buying soil from the stores. Let's take the second point, easy. Some people think that to do composting you need scientific knowledge, expensive equipments, and lot of turning. But that is not the case. For composting, you simply need to mix your greens and browns in the 50-50 ratio. Your greens is your plant-based material, coffee grounds, and eggshells, right? And your browns is your brown leaves. And you need to mix it in the 50-50 ratio. Nothing can be more easy to remember. And for the turning process, you simply turn it once a week. And even that, if you don't do it, like if you don't turn it once a week, nothing is going to go bad. You still get your compost at the end. You forgot 1 week, you can turn in second week. So it comes out, it's very easy actually. Let me take in another example from kitchen. So in kitchen we make that gajar ka halwa, carrot pudding, and we have to turn it continuously. And as if we forget just to turn for some time, it will burn, right? So composting is easier than making gajar ka halwa. And another example, it's easier than baking as well. In baking, for example, you are baking your cookies, you need to remember you need 3/4 all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon baking powder, 1 cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I remember from one of my friend's daughter, she added 1 tablespoon of salt instead of 1 teaspoon salt in her cookies, and of course those cookies were not eatable. So composting is easier than baking as well. The ratio is 50-50, and that also is not rocket science. You can make it 60-40, 70-30. Everything works. All you need to do is you need to mix these two greens and browns into a bin and just let it sit. Nature does its own composting. You don't need a fancy setup. Just initially you just put something outside and keep adding something. That's what composting is. And maybe that is the second reason for this to be so popular. Let's see the third point, high quality, highest quality compost. Gardeners don't call compost black gold for nothing. The compost that we get, this is the highest quality organic fertilizer. Better quality than any fertilizer that we can get from stores. If we get the NPK fertilizer, those inorganic fertilizer from stores, those give your soil just quick boost to your plants. But with composting, with compost, it gives structure to your soil. It gives a place for your microbes, soil microbes to live in, to thrive in. And for the clay soil, it helps in drainage. For the sandy soil, it helps in retention of water. And when you add your compost to your soil, it also make your plants resilient against diseases. So compost is not comparable to the NPK fertilizer at all. And as we say, home cooked food is better than the restaurant food. Same way, homemade compost is always better than any store-bought fertilizer or anything. So I remember another story from one of my other friend. She has 5 composters at home, and she has, in a small area, she's really utilizing her space very well, and she has lot of plants, vegetable garden. So she's doing zucchini, potatoes, carrots, eggplants, everything she tries to do, cucumbers, etc. So she was asking me, Vartika, where can I get some compost? And I thought, you're already composting in 5 composters, you still need more compost? So because it is the highest quality, she does not want to buy the NPK fertilizer for her garden. She wants to use the compost. So these are the three things: cheap, easy, and high quality. Just cheap, easy, and high quality. This 3 point framework is, I think, um, motivating people to compost at home. And this is not just a passing trend. This is realization. This is a simple realization that you can easily make it at home, and you don't need to buy it from stores. I had this light bulb moment 6 years back when I came to know that I can make compost easily at home, and then I could not stop myself. That was the winter months, by the way, February 2020, and I started right away. I just shoveled away some snow from and then put my cardboard outside and started collecting my kitchen scraps in there. And this has been 6 years, and since then I never looked back. My process is becoming easier and easier every year, so and more enjoyable, and that's why I just keep composting even today. And if you're already composting, you're not only saving money and getting the highest quality compost at home, you are also ahead of the curve, because a lot of people are trying to compost these days. And if you're not already composting, maybe this gives you some reasons to jump into the process right away and start composting. Yeah, thank you for stopping by. Happy composting. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.